All right, let's talk about that first cup of coffee in the morning. Or, that afternoon tea. For so many of us, it's not even a question, it's a part of the day. But what if that daily ritual is actually a super complicated relationship with the most popular drug on the planet? Today, we're putting caffeine on trial. Is it a secret weapon for a longer, better life? Or is it silently wrecking our sleep and our sanity? Let's get into it.
And when I say popular, I am not kidding. Just look at this number. In the US alone, 90% of adults use caffeine regularly. 90. I mean, think about that. We are a society that literally runs on this stuff, and we barely even give it a second thought.
But maybe we should think about it, because let's be real about what caffeine actually is. By definition, it's a psychoactive stimulant. Yeah, a drug. And, sleep expert Matthew Walker makes this incredible point. It's the only psychoactive stimulant we regularly and, happily give to our kids. So what is this drug really doing to us? Okay, first up, the prosecution. Let's hear the case against caffeine. What are the hidden costs of this habit we all have? Well, the argument starts with the one thing we could all use more of: sleep. So, to really get caffeine's impact, you gotta understand this concept called half-life. Basically, it's the time it takes for your body to get rid of half of the drug. For caffeine, it's about 6 hours. 6. But honestly, that's not even the most shocking part. Yeah, it's the quarter life that really gets you. So think about that coffee you had at noon today. At midnight, when you're trying to sleep, a full quarter of that caffeine is still buzzing around in your brain. Sleep expert Matthew Walker puts it this way: it's like chugging a quarter cup of coffee and then immediately trying to go to bed. Wild, right? And the impact of that? It's huge. Studies show that just one dose of caffeine in the evening can cut your deep sleep, the really good restorative kind, by 20%. Now, to put that into perspective for you, that's the kind of drop in deep sleep you'd normally see by aging about 15 years. Or, you could just have an after-dinner espresso. And all this bad sleep, it just creates this vicious cycle, right? You wake up tired, so what do? You reach for more caffeine. But that can make you anxious, it creates a real dependency, and it can even make things worse for people with certain mental health conditions. It's a total downward spiral, where the thing you're using to fix the problem is actually causing it.
Okay, but hold on. Before you go and pour all your coffee down the drain, the defense has something to say, and they have a completely different story to tell. What if caffeine isn't the bad guy we think it is?
So here's a really interesting thought. We've been studying caffeine for literally hundreds of years. If it were really that terrible for us, don't you think we'd have some rock-solid proof by now? Like Dr. Mike Israetel points out, when the science is still unclear, it probably means that for most people, any negative effect is, pretty tiny.
In fact, some of the biggest studies out there point in the exact opposite direction. I'm talking about a massive study, 500,000 people, that found coffee drinkers actually had a lower risk of death from everything: heart disease, cancer, you name it. So, far from being a killer, it kind of looks like it's helping us stick around longer.
And it seems to point to the power of moderation. The research suggests there's a sweet spot for getting all these health benefits, and it's right around 3 cups a day. So maybe the real question isn't if you're drinking coffee, but how much. And what's more, your daily cup is delivering way more than just a buzz. Coffee and tea? They are loaded with powerful antioxidants, these things called polyphenols. They've got fiber that your gut loves. They can actually improve how sharp you are and even help you control your appetite. Hey, even decaf has those good-for-you antioxidants. Okay, so we have 2 totally opposite arguments. One says it's bad, one says it's good. How can they both be right? Well, to figure that out, we need to pop the hood and see what caffeine is actually doing inside your brain. And here's the spoiler: it's not giving you energy. Not at all. I love how the author Michael Pollan puts it. He says caffeine doesn't create energy, it just makes you a better borrower. You're basically taking out a high-interest loan on tomorrow's energy. And, like any loan, you eventually have to pay it back. And there's always interest. So how does this loan actually work in your brain? Well, all day long, this chemical called adenosine is building up. Think of it as sleep pressure. It's what makes you feel tired. But then caffeine comes along. The caffeine molecules are basically imposters. They look enough like adenosine to sneak in and block the receptors, so your brain never gets the "I'm tired" message. The only problem is the real adenosine is still building up behind the scenes. So when the caffeine finally wears off, bam, the floodgates open and that's the crash you feel.
And that crash, it's not just a feeling, and you're not just imagining it. It's part of an actual, official medical diagnosis called caffeine withdrawal syndrome. Yep, those headaches, that exhaustion, the brain fog, those are all very real symptoms of your body basically screaming for a drug it's come to depend on. Michael Pollan described quitting caffeine so perfectly. He said he felt like an unsharpened pencil. I mean, we've all felt that, right? That feeling of just not having your edge, like everything's a little fuzzy. That's withdrawal. That's what it feels like when your brain is forced to operate without the stimulant it now thinks of as normal. So we've heard from both sides of the argument, the friend and the foe. What's the final verdict? Well, here's the thing. There isn't one universal answer. The jury in this case is you. The final decision rests with the only expert that really matters here. Okay, let's just lay it all out, side by side. The pros, it's linked to a lower risk of death, it makes you sharper, and it's full of good stuff like antioxidants. The cons, it messes with your deep sleep, it can make you anxious, and it creates this gnarly cycle of dependency and withdrawal. It's a real toss-up. And the reason there's no single answer is because, well, we're all wired differently. Your genetics, your lifestyle, your overall health, it all plays a huge role in how you react to caffeine. For one person, it's the ultimate productivity hack. For someone else, it's a one-way ticket to an anxiety attack. So what this really means is that the best way forward is for you to become your own scientist. Run a little experiment on yourself. Try having your last coffee before noon. Maybe cut back for a week and see what happens. Just track how you feel. How's your energy at 3 p.m.? What's your mood like? Are you sleeping better? Seriously, the data you get from your own body is going to be way more valuable than any study. After his own experiment, Michael Pollan had this pretty mind-blowing realization. He said that his normal state of mind, his baseline for how he felt every day, wasn't really his normal state at all. It was a caffeinated consciousness. His default was a drugged state. And that leads us to the very last and maybe the most important question of all. Is your normal actually your caffeinated self? It's definitely something to think about.